Hello everybody, and welcome to another trading session. Today's session we're going to discuss a couple of key market indicators and analyze a couple of different currency pairs and a couple of different commodity pairs, and just sort of see where we are at since Tuesday's trading. Excuse me. So we should be trading today. I'm going to look for, see if we can't get a trade in as well too before we finish, whether it be a pending market order or a market order. I'm not too sure yet. I don't know what's out there. I've got my eye on a couple of things, but we'll just have to see how those transpire. So we'll get started here pretty much right now. The first thing I want to just discuss, if we look here, is the website. I always like to just quickly start with this. If you aren't signed up to our website and if you're not a member, you can go to f45trading.com, and I'll just type that in right now, and you can see the landing page where we're at, so you can find us. You can sign up free for 30 days. You can access all of our information, all of our signals, everything that we do. We put out a lot of content every single week, so you can access all of this for free for 30 days. In addition, it'd be great if you guys aren't already signed up to one of our social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and obviously YouTube, which you're watching this on. So go ahead and sign up and subscribe to our social media feeds, because we do a lot of updates on these as well. So you can get daily updates and daily information from us. So check that out. Again, free for 30 days, and you can sign up anytime you want. This is the website. I'll just give you a real quick run through. This is where we get all of our information, all of our daily updates, some changes in the market, changes to signals, anything our analysts want to discuss, we throw it in the news section here. We have weekly market analysis videos where we think the markets are going to go for that week on specific pairs that are analyzed specifically by our experts. Obviously our trade signals, we put those right in here on a daily basis, so you can look for those. The webinars section right here, what we're on, and then the weekly analysis archive is where you can find all of our previous videos that we've done, and you can see there's quite a few videos that we've done in the past, so you can access all of our past comments and market trading ideas. And then the last one here, sorry guys, I'm just looking at something. The last one here is our trading education. This is, we're just one video away here from completing this small series of 10 videos, and we will be uploading several more as we go forward. But the first sort of wave of educational videos is just sort of for beginners to hone their skills in a little bit on, you know, how to navigate the market and how to work around the charts, and just some tips and tricks and things like that. So you can find those here and access all of that. Again, all of our content for free for 30 days. So come on in, sign up to the website at f45trading.com and check that stuff out. So with that being said, I just want to switch over to the news for a quick minute and check out our economic drivers, which is a good practice to do when trading. So I just want to have a quick peek here, see what the activity, we're going into Thursday, January 11th. Some medium impact news here for the Bank of England. The Euro's got a little bit of news here, a monetary policy meeting. Medium, the dollar CAD, or the loonies got an NHPI meeting minutes, and then the USD has some high impact news here, some PPI news impacts here at 8:30 in the morning, so about 8.5 hours from now. So not too much going on. Later in the day, we've got some FOMC speakers talking. That tends to move the market around a little bit, but for the most part, it's fairly low impact tomorrow. Friday, I would definitely not recommend trading. If you do trade on Friday, make sure it's either before 8:30 a.m. or after 8:30 a.m. Don't have any open orders during this time period. That's coupled with the US dollar index, because you could see some very serious fluctuation with those currency baskets. And there's several news events happening, major news events here. I don't know if it's going to be as volatile as like an FOMC day, but just to be on the safe side, you know, there's a couple of big ones in here, so I would suggest waiting out on that one. But Thursday looks good for to take a couple of good trades, and we'll just dive into the markets here right now, and we'll check out what is on the horizon. So I want to start with the dollar index. Now this is fairly interesting. You can see here, in this side, if you go back to the live trading session I did on Tuesday, I kind of discussed the market trend of the US dollar. It's been on a steady decline here. Now, what is interesting is they are slowly increasing the interest rate. The U.S. Fed is starting to increase the cost of borrowing, and typically what happens is they start to take a little bit of money out of supply. They're a little less loosey-goosey with the amount of money going out into circulation, and that tends to tighten things up a bit. And what that does to the dollar is it actually strengthens it. And usually you find this in an economy that's starting to get stronger. So, you know, you can see here price has been on a steady decline, and since been on a steady decline since, you know, 2016, early 2017. So about the past year now, it's been in a bear market. Had a nice little bounce here in August, and then has failed to rally above this high in about late October, early November. And since then, now we're trading down here at 92.50. So it's failed so far to make a lower low. So I'm a little bit hesitant right now. I mean, I'm not going to suggest that we're going to be looking at a bullish outlook on this yet, until obviously this high here at until basically 95.50 or, you know, 95.25-ish, 95.20 is going to be broken. I'm not going to change my outlook to bullish until then. But we got to watch it in here, because typically what happens when you get a failure swing like this on the daily on a major dollar index like this, you could start to see some strengthening of this currency. And so what we're looking at here, I was just looking at the interest rate for the US dollar. And you can see here it's steadily been increasing. You can see over a 10-year period here. I mean, it was fairly high about 10 years ago, and ever since then, to combat the decline in the economy, they've been dropping interest rates steadily for about this 1-year period, and then it's basically remained flat from about 2009 till about 2016, and then they've been slowly stair-stepping this thing up. And just January here, they just raised interest rates again. So typically what happens when the interest rates go up, it's going to take the dollar along with it. It's going to strengthen the currency. So what we're saying here is, I don't know, again, I'm not going to be bullish on this pair until it breaks some of these significant highs here, but we could see some temporary strength in this currency. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. I've got a little bit of a gap. I discussed this on Tuesday. I've got a little bit of a gap in my data feed here. What you want to do is you want to make sure you verify that this gap exists on other platforms. So I've got another platform here that I look at as well, that I analyze the markets with. I don't have that gap on this, so sorry guys, I just had someone buzz in here. So again, I don't have this gap on my feed here, so you just kind of got to watch that, and I'm going to ignore this right now. But what I want to look at right here is you can see the market came back down to this consolidation area in here that I had discussed earlier. Markets have a tendency to return to these consolidation areas. So you can see here, it's come down and it hasn't wanted to trade through this consolidation level in here. It came down to it about halfway into it, and then it has since rejected. And this is Thursday's trading day right here. I'll zoom in one more here. This is Thursday's trading. This is today, and this was yesterday. And you can see here the wick on this candle, which means price traded down. It was thinking about taking these lows out, and then it's since rejected. Now it didn't close on a green candle, which means it didn't take out the previous day's high, but it also didn't take out this low here. So I'm not necessarily, I would say, you know, obviously overall trend, we're bearish, right? You look at this chart, it's clearly a bearish chart. But you look at a couple of these other factors, and you can see here again, we failed to make another low, a new low down here. And so temporarily, we may see some bullish movement on the US dollar index, just based on what I see in here again with this rejection. Now it's gonna be interesting to see what's going to happen with this candle. And as I mentioned, you know, we've got some pretty significant news coming out on Friday. So maybe the only thing that they're doing on this is they want to drive this up to grab some liquidity and then start to move it down again. That could be the case, but until it really makes a trend breakout in one direction or the other, we can't be too sure. So we kind of have to play this one very tightly moving forward. So. You know, price may just want to even come up again. I've highlighted this blue area here of interest, and I thought we were going to get a big rejection. We did with this candle, but it failed to execute and follow through on it. So we could see a small temporary push up into here. Maybe it just wants to kind of come up to the base of this support, resistance area and then continue its trend down. Or maybe it wants to come up and clean up some of the stops up in this area above this, this old high up in here. Again, until it breaks 95.20, I'm still bearish on the U.S. dollar index, but that coupled with the again the interest rates for the U.S. dollar starting to rise, it kind of leads me, and this failure swing, it kind of leads me to believe that maybe this bearish run could have run out, but time will tell. It's still very, very early in the year, and a lot can happen between now and the end of the month, so we'll just watch that one. So flipping the script here a little bit, Euro USD, we had pretty much the inverse price action happening on this as we did the dollar index. You can see here price rejected today, and this kind of leads me to believe as well too that I believe we may see higher prices in the dollar index and lower prices in foreign currencies. One of those being the Euro USD. We did have a nice rejection candle in here. And we have some areas of interest that I've marked out. Obviously, this area of support and resistance you can see in here I marked out at 118.80. I think could be very realistic by the end of the week. And if not there, if price wants to continue to decline, there's a couple areas right in here that are very interesting as well too. And mainly that would be the basically the stops in this area here. That's kind of got my interest peaked at the moment. So, you know, again, I don't know how deep that would go if it would want to come back and take out this old low in November. But for now, it, again, same thing, failed to make a higher high at this old high back in, what is this? September, early September. It's failed to get above that. So that kind of leads me to believe it needs to come back down here and gather up some loans before it gets enough strength to go higher and take out those old highs. I mean, long term, we're very bullish. There's a number of areas here that I think price could get back up and trade into. And the euro has finally just broken out of this massive consolidation area here. And just as of basically July. last summer. It's finally broken out of that, and now it's just going into kind of a tighter consolidation area in here now. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen if we're going to see another push higher, which I believe we will eventually get there. And in the short term, you know, we could see the price of this come down a little bit. So we'll see what happens on there. But if we do want to look at further bearishness on this, I'm just going to drive down into a lower time frame here and see what we're looking at here. Now, price tried to make a nice rally up in here today. It did fail and reject off of that, but it still hasn't broken these lows. So, you know, part of me kind of wants to believe that this thing is still going to run higher for the week. But with the dollar index rejecting off of this low, it makes me hesitant to believe that it's going to continue back up here this week. I'm kind of thinking it's going to come down in here and just break the low here that it made on Tuesday. However, earlier in the week, typically, if you're going to have an up-close week, so if you're going to have a week, you know, a week candle like you see this one here, if you're going to have, this is an up-close candle, if you're going to have this during the week, typically what it'll do is it'll make the low of the week candle range earlier on in the week. You can see the wick right here. Maybe that's a bad example. Yeah, let me get this shaded area off of here. You can see it a little bit better. So for example, right here, you see this wick right here, and this up close candle. This is a weekly range. It'll make this low here earlier on in the week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and then the rest of the week it'll trade higher and it'll close higher. So right now you can see the candle that we're currently forming right here. It's a big bearish candle. We're now going into Thursday's trading, so that kind of leads me to believe that this is going to close on a bearish as a big black down candle. So if we look at that, you know, going back in the chart and looking at an hourly chart, I believe the lows down here at 1880 could be a potential target going into London Open here and into New York Open for tomorrow. Now again, there is a little bit of medium impact news on the euro, but I don't know if it would be enough to push it around too significantly. So, you know, I think, sorry, I'm just switched over here. So I think that, yeah, price could just start to trade down anytime here. We'll wait and see what happens. I'm also very interested in the pound dollar. I think we're going to get much lower prices on this for this week, and then I really believe that this thing is going to shoot higher. And I personally believe that they've left this area in consolidation just because eventually they are going to want to run right back up and take these highs out up here. I think that's going to be the next level of a price that's going to happen. It might not happen for a week. It could be the end of the month, but they're definitely not going to leave all that up there just sitting there for much longer. So the first area that I'm looking at is right here, 134.65 for price to come down and tag off of and then continue higher. But there is a level down here at 133.75 that's kind of caught my interest. Right in this shaded area right here. I'm just going to change this a little bit here so you can differentiate between the two a little bit better. I think that the price could be making a move down to this area in here. And I mean, it could start from, whoops, sorry guys, 1 second. Grab this here. Now, it could start from this area right here. Call it 134.30-ish to 133.37. So, I mean, there's definitely a bit of a gap there, you know, about a 50 pip sort of area where we could see price gather some strength and then want to resume higher. Basically, yeah, I would say probably right around there we could start to see some strength on it. So, you know, short term, I'm you know, by the end of the week type of thing, I'm bearish on this pound dollar. I think we're going to come down and we're going to see these lows in here hit, and then price will resume higher to ultimately take out this high here at 136.65, which I identified on Tuesday as a big area of mine. Before it gets there, obviously, it's got to trade up and it's got to clean out these highs up in here, which I just discussed. But I think short term we could see that. So looking at price in here, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here for a second. We do have some news coming up on this at 4:30. So what is that? About 4 hours from now, we're going to see some news, a small news event, and it's a medium impact news event, so it's not going to push price around too much, I don't think. But what we could see price do is something like this: come up here and then continue to proceed down. Like, as you can see here, price, to be honest with you, was just grabbing stops all day today. All day Wednesday. Price rammed down, grabbed liquidity below the market, below these lows here, and then it rammed back up, grabbed liquidity up here, and then we're since trading down again. So I believe that we could see price come back up to this consolidation. I'll just drop down to a 15-minute time frame here and check this out. You see this level of consolidation in here? This is what's known as the Asian range. We could see price come back up to this level here, trade off of it, and so more like here type of thing, trade off of it, and then head lower. So that's kind of got my interest right off the bat. And then again, we're pushing for lows that could come down into this next consolidation area here. Target one would be, I'll just put these levels in here just so you can kind of get an idea. Level 1 right there. Level 2 right here. 30. And then level 3, which would be, I think, in my opinion, a bit of a stretch. I mean, we're trading at almost 135.00 right now. Now, I mean, 125 pips before the week's end. It's definitely not inconceivable on the pound dollar. So that's kind of got my interest here right now going forward. Again, ultimately, I definitely think 100% it's coming up into this area here. Don't think it's going to get there this week, though. I think if it was going to do it this week, it would have already started to make a push forward, a push higher, and I don't think price would have been dropping down to the level it's at right now. Like, I think what it would have done, it would have created the low of the week on Wednesday, right down here. As you can see here, it came in, grabbed a bunch of liquidity below the market, came down 1, 2, 3 times. Now it's coming back down a 4th time. I think it's going to push through on this 4th time here and bang down. Hopefully, though, short term, we could get a run back up into this consolidation area, and I'd be interested in taking a sell at this level right here. So let me just put a marker on that here. Let's just call it even at 135.00 there. So I would actually be quite interested to see that if this would come to fruition this evening. I don't know. That might be what that medium news impact event does. Price could just sit here and sort of consolidate for another 2 or 3 hours, and then that news event may drive it up into here and then crush it lower. Now, if we're going to look at that, as you can see here, I think in terms of setting this up as a trade, we could look at these levels here. So if price wants to go higher, typically what we use, I described this in a video today. So if you're kind of wondering what levels we usually typically put our trades in at, or signals in at, for a day trade, we'd be looking at a 30 pip stop. Is typically the standard, and a minimum of a 2 to 1 reward to risk ratio. But in this case, you know, again, the market's just kind of been chopping sideways here, so anything could really happen. I'd kind of elect to go with a little bit tighter of a stop. Sometimes this can get you in trouble because you got to monitor the trade a little bit. But if price does want to come back above this level here, I don't think it's gonna, and it does want to go down. I don't think it's gonna want to come much higher than these highs in here. And to be honest with you, it probably shouldn't do it because it's already grabbed liquidity above here and then dropped down. So at the very most, I think it wants to come to the bottom of this consolidation area here. You could call it even at 13500. Take a sell position in there and then wait for price to hopefully trade down here. And I would definitely suggest taking some profits off, obviously at 30 pips. So just so you know, I might have mentioned this, our website, just real quick. I always like to plug our website whenever we can. This video right here, how to take partial profits when the trade moves into profit, and how to limit your risk when the trade moves against you. If you haven't seen this already, please watch this video because it explains in detail as to what you do in this exact scenario. So if price starts moving against you, you start to close the trade partially in limiting your risk. And let's say, for example, it was a full 25 pip stop and price was going to scream up there. You don't want to have your full position riding all the way to your stop loss and get stopped out on your full position. If price starts moving, you know, 15 pips against you, probably a good rule of thumb to close a small position on it. You know, close 1/3 or half of the position, and you can always re-add it later on, and in anticipation that the price is going to then roll over. But you definitely don't want to take a full scalp out on your full position that you go in. So if you do end up going short at 13500 and price starts moving against you, I would definitely start taking off some, basically right at these highs here. I would suggest 15 pips in, for sure 20 pips in. Start taking some off if price moves against you, and then and not getting a full stop out. And as always, again, watch that video because there's some great detail in here. But at this level right here, at 134.70, 30 pips into profit, take the majority of your trade off, capture that 30 pips in profit, and let the rest of the trade ride out to the full target. And move your stop loss to break even, obviously, and that goes without saying. You always got to protect those profits once you get them. So if price continues on you, it goes down, hits 30 pips in profit, boom, take off a third, half, 2/3 of your of your position size. Let the rest ride down to the take profit. Move your stop loss to break even. It's that simple. Excuse me. I'm just gonna get a sip of water here, guys. Sorry about that. Just had to clear my throat. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for the pound dollar. That's kind of got my interest here. I've been watching this pair all week, and it's just until it breaks these consolidation areas. Unless it's a big range, I typically don't trade these. I mean, if you've got a day range that looks like this, that's one thing. You can certainly trade that and get some nice movement in there and capture a lot of pips in these consolidation areas. But when you're looking at a you know, an hour time frame like we've got here, I mean, you've got a range of, you know, 60 pips. You can definitely scalp it and you can definitely get some profits in there, but it's definitely not as reliable. So I typically like to wait until it comes out of these consolidation areas and start to actually move in the direction, retest that consolidation zone, and then get in on the position. So in this case, I'm looking at a short position here. Take out these lows here, first target down here, and then ultimate target down into one of these areas here. So again, go back to that video that I did because I show you how to stack orders and to build positions in by creating multiple orders. So that's another thing that you can do as well too. You know, price moves up here, you put an order in here. Price comes down, you put another order in here. Price comes down, put another one in there. And you sort of stack your orders up, and then you wait for price to do what it's going to do in here. Reject, continue down, whatever it is. So anyway, I'm going to come back to this one here, and actually while I'm on the topic, just so I don't forget, I think I might just put a small limit order in here. This is just a demo account, so there's no live funds here. I've said this 100 times, we don't trade with live funds while we're doing these demos and while we're doing these education sessions, so there's no fear of loss or anything. This is all just for practice, and hopefully you can learn something while we're doing it. So I'll put my stop loss in here and put my target in at 134. I'm going to put my first target in at 134.30. Again, just to get a move down in this green area here, but I'm certainly taking profit off the table at 134.70 and then 134.65 here if price reaches down. So that is kind of what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put this order in here at 135. And I'm actually a little bit too close to the market right now, so I might have to do a market order. So I'm going to... Sorry guys, 1 second. I got somebody buzzing in here. Yeah, so I'm a little bit close to the market here, so I'll see if I can do this at 05. I think I have to be 10 pips away in order to put a limit order in. And sell limit. Yeah, so I'm too close to the market, so I'll have to do a market order on it. I can put it in here. The price might get up there, but I might have to move it down. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So I'll come back to this one here, and we'll watch and see what price wants to do moving forward into during the London session, which we're just starting here now, and into New York. So we'll come back to that one. And let's move on. US CAD, this one here is interesting. Now, we were trading this one. Again, I've got a gap in here on my feed. I'm just going to get rid of this. This actually doesn't exist. This was a gap in data in here with this particular broker. So that's why, as I say, it's always good to just confirm your data feed, because you can see here, no gap, right? It's all fluid price action. But this is very interesting. I knew price was, I called price I think on Tuesday. I can't remember if I said it on Tuesday's live session or if I said it in another video, but I believe, and that's why I have this X right here. I knew price was going to come above here and grab the liquidity. I didn't think, however, it was going to come up this high, but price shot right up there, and so far it hasn't rejected. I mean, it rejected a little bit obviously down here, but we could see higher prices on here on the dollar CAD, and there's a lot of areas up in here, some you know, price movement here that would, I think, attract price to want to move back up to these levels. So again, just looking at the US dollar, if we continue to see this push up, it's going to drag the US CAD along with it. Now, the one thing here I mentioned too, you can see that, and I'm just going to compare these two just real quick. So this low, I'm just kind of talking out loud here, this low was created in September, early September, and the CAD low here was created when? Early September. Now you can kind of see here, there's a little more strength in the dollar CAD as opposed to the US dollar. And the only reason I say that is look how deep this retracement was on the US dollar versus the loonie, which didn't see that happen. It came down, took out these lows here, and has since rejected. So this is also kind of leading me to believe that we could start to see a little bit higher prices. Now you got to watch this, because it's very important. Not only is the Canadian dollar affected by the U.S. currency, so if the U.S. currency is stronger, this chart will go up, and because the CAD is the last currency in this basket, so U.S. CAD, the dollar is actually getting weaker, so it's increasing in its value, but the actual price of the dollar, if you look at a Canadian dollar's future chart, it's actually going down, so it's actually weakening. But in addition to being affected by the U.S. dollar, the loonie is also affected by crude oil being its country's major export. And I was going to come to this here in a few minutes and show you the crude oil has been on a major tear since summer of 2017. And I had predicted, you can go back through my videos, and they're all on YouTube, all for free on our channel. You can check. I've been talking about this since, I'd say, September, October. See these highs over here that I have outlined here? I knew price was going to come up and take these highs out. And I was talking about that back when price was meandering down in and around here. When it started making this low and rallied out of this low, that's when I knew it, and that's when I made that call. Sorry, it probably wasn't this early. It was probably more in here, I think, is when I was discussing that. Like I say, September, October timeframe is when I started to discuss this. And you can see in my videos, you can go back and you can see me start to discuss this. And I called this level of 62.55 being hit, and it smashed through that 2 days ago on Tuesday. So called that one. But anyway, just back to the U.S. dollar index. I'm sorry, the U.S. CAD, the loonie. If the price of crude oil is increasing dramatically and very strongly, what is going to happen with this is it's actually going to drive this down. So it's going to give it some strength. So it just depends on how strong, again, the rally on the crude oil inventory, the price of crude oil is, and then the price of the U.S. dollar and what that's doing, if we're going to see higher highs or lower lows in here. But this area up here has my interest in dollar CAD. See these area, this resistance area up in here where price just bang, 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 bang. This has really got my attention up here. So I've got a lot of shrapnel on this chart. If you give me just 1 second, I just want to clear some of this off here so we can see what's going on a little bit better. Whoops, I didn't want to get rid of that line. One thing I didn't want to clear off, I got rid of. Come on. Huh. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I'm just going to put this level back up here again. 12900 has got my interest on the US CAD. We made a significant rebound off of these lows down here, so price came down, captured the liquidity, ran the stops, took the longs, and now we're moving back up. One of two things is going to happen. Price is going to come to here. $126, I'd say somewhere in here, 126.60, I would say, and drop and continue its downward spiral, or it's going to push through and it's going to run up and it's going to ram through and it's going to take out this level here at 12900 big figure. That is my prediction for the US the US CAD. So we'll know as soon as price gets to here. If it wants to keep continue up, it's going to smash through and it's going to come right up into here and it's going to take out this area. And I think we're going to see price want to come at a very minimum up to this area right here. Long term, I mean, this could take 3 months to trade up there. I mean, look at this area here, right? I mean, this took from September to November. So this took early September to early November. So 2 months to get up to that level. So we're just down here now. So this could very well take another 2 months, I mean maybe more, to get up there. But just something very interesting that I'm just kind of looking at as well. You typically have symmetrical swings with some of these pairs, and I just want to take a couple of levels here and just see. That lines up fairly well. What is that level? Over here we've got 131.85. Now that's definitely worth putting on the chart. 131. I mean 131.85, 131.80. We'll call it 131.80 to be safe, but that is a very interesting level to me. I need to get back on there. I just had it and now I moved it. Screwing around with it. Jesus. Technical difficulties. That's what happens when you get live trading sessions. Not everything's perfect. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of got my interest on it. And I'm only just looking at CAD. To be honest with you, one of my other analysts handles the US CAD, the Loonie, and I'd like to leave it to him to handle it, but it just kind of caught my eye because one of the commodities that I go through is actually oil, and oil is directly related to the US CAD, and so I kind of trade the two in tandem and look at them as well. That's just kind of what I see sort of over the next 60 days in the US CAD. So we'll see what happens when price wants to come up to this 126.60. I would even say the low of this candle right here at 12600. I'll put that in here. So if this is going to, let me put it this way. Okay. Let me put it this way. So I'm just going to zoom in here. Get rid of this. And get rid of this. Okay. So what I think, to kind of summarize, is going to happen here, if you haven't already gathered what I'm doing, is price has failed to come down here so far and take out this lower low here. The US dollar index, as I discussed, has done the same thing. So depending on what price wants to do in here, we had a nice rejection candle here. It might just be doing that to roll back down, and we could take out this low, in which case the US CAD is going to go with it and go lower as well too. Or we could be just rejecting off of this area to come back up in here and take up some liquidity, grab some shorts while it's up here, and then drop again. And this could be doing the same thing. So I think price we are currently trading at 125.44. I think we are probably going to see 126.60, and then price is either going to do one of two things. It's going to hit 122.60, 122.66, somewhere in this area, and I'll just kind of throw this up on the chart here, just so you can kind of understand. It's an area. I don't know exactly where price is going to stop. Nobody ever does all the time. Just do a light color here so it's not too intrusive with this guy. Now, that's a nice color. So price, I think, could come up into this area. If this is what's going to happen, you'll see price trade up into this area. It'll reject, it'll roll over, and this is going to be your first target, is 12200. Or price is going to blast through this area and go straight up, and again, this is going to be my first target at 12900. So this is on the daily. It's not going to happen in a night. It's not going to happen in one trading session. It's going to be a slow progression It could be something like this, where it just shoots up and you have a 1 or 2 small range days and then shoots up again, and it gets there in, you know, like a week or you know, 2 weeks of trading. You know, because that's 400 pips away. That's quite a ways away. Or it could do something like this, where it just, you know, trades up a little bit, it comes down, then shoots up, and then trades sideways, then shoots up, and then just consolidates for a little bit, and then shoots up, and you never know how price is going to get there. But one of the telltale signs is going to be, whoops, what did I just do there? One of the telltale signs is going to be, let me just look here on the hourly. What I think we could see happen if price does one of two things. If price basically comes down to this level right here, somewhere in this level here, 2510, you know, 2500, 2510, somewhere in there. I wouldn't typically suggest too much lower. For instance, like right here. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that red line. I don't like that. 2490, I like that level there. It's going to do one of two things. So again, I mentioned this is the low of the week here, and price has been trading straight up since then. We're now going into Thursday's trading. If this is going to continue, I would think that it's going to continue off of today, and we're going to trade up higher into the week and possibly get up into somewhere around, you know, 2600, as I kind of outlined right here. Like I say, I think price could do this for today's trading and then resume higher. Now, depending on how deep this is going to go, this is where it'll tell you. I mean, it may not even come down there. It might just go, it's at 125.46 right now. Price could just go straight up from here and hit 12600 and 50 pips and bank it and you're done. However, one of the telltale signs that this is going to go higher is if price comes down to this level, rejects, and then starts going from there, you know it's going to hit 12600. I mean, instantly. So that would be a telltale sign. Price may want to come down another 10 pips into this area here. You know, again, it's just, you got to watch price. You got to see what it's doing. There is some news again on the US CAD. Where are we here? Oh, that was my dog. You can see him there. US CAD, we have medium impact news. Sorry, the Canadian dollar, we have some medium impact news at 8:30 a.m. during New York trading. So, you know, price could slowly roll over during London and then drive down in New York, make the lows, you know, around that 8:30 time frame, and then start screaming higher. So if you are going to look at taking a trade on this, I would suggest you wait until at least 8:30 just to see what price wants to do here. Now, don't chase it either. You know, if price just starts going up, leave it. Don't touch it until you get a retracement back down to this consolidation level or these highs here. But I would suggest, yeah, waiting until at least 8:30, checking that news event out, seeing what price does. If you see price starting to roll over, that's going to be your tip off. That's going to be a telltale sign, because that news event, it will drive it down, and then she'll move it back up, and it will be looking at taking out, as I say, these highs here at 12600. So that's my short-term analysis on the CAD. So that's enough about that. I've kind of spent a lot of time, and I've only really gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs here. So I kind of got to get moving here to try and stay on my hour time frame. Just give me 1 second, guys. I just want to shoot out a quick message here. Okay. Excuse me. just wanted to send out just a quick link there. Sorry guys, thanks for bearing with me. Okay, so that's US CAD. So we discussed the US dollar, we discussed a little bit about the Euro USD, a little bit about the pound dollar, a little bit about the loonie, and now, and you can see the loonie on the daily too, just sort of, it just almost looks like it's going to be a doji on the daily, which is interesting. But again, I still think price is going to push up into here. Yeah, I don't know though. It might have already rejected on the day. We could see, yeah, I'm starting to second guess myself. Sometimes you do that. And this was a nice rejection here. Took the highs. Yeah, watch this level here. Like I say, if price goes any lower than 124.90, it's not going higher. It's going to go lower. I don't think we're going to do it, though. I think it's too far gone. I think we're going to finish the week higher. It's going to be an up candle. If not, then again, I don't think we're going to see a down candle on it. On the weekly on the US CAD, but we'll watch and see what happens there. So anyway, moving on, because I'm going to be all here all day talking about that. I just want to, where is it here? Oh, I'm on the wrong chart. So I just want to discuss oil for a minute, crude oil. I've got a couple of areas that I've identified on the chart here that I believe price is going to get to. I'm just going to throw those in here right now. Ooh, that's a little big. Let's change that. So I think 70 for sure, $70 a barrel. I think this could easily be attainable in the next little while. I mean, you got to think. I mean, we have moved in the past 1, 2, 3 in the past month. So since the first, call it the second week of December. No, where's the first week here? Hang on, let me just get back here. So there's the first week of December. We made this low the first week of December at $55 a barrel, and we're now trading at $63.47. So we are, what is that? 5, 8, almost $9 movements on crude oil in a month's time. So just a little over a month's time. So looking at that, there's about a $6.5 difference between 70 and its current level of 63.50 right now. This area could be very attainable going into trading the rest of January here and into February. We're in the winter. There's demand for energy. They all go up during the winter. Obviously things like heating oil and gas and things like that. Obviously the prices go up as well too. Yeah, it could be interesting, guys. This might levels might get up there to $70 in a big hurry. But here's the thing. So just looking at this, I'm not buying it up here. There's no way. And let that be a rule of thumb to everybody. Don't ever buy it up here when it's like this. Wait for retracements to buy. So first level of retracement, consolidation areas. Look at those. So for instance, here's a consolidation area right there. Wait for price to come back down and retest the old highs of these consolidation areas. Okay, so that just happens to come in at 62.20. I would suggest waiting to 62.20 at least for price to come back and scratch that. 62.55 I think would be a good level to start. Wait for a retracement back down to there. Wait for price to do what it's going to do. If it starts to reject, buy it. It's going to go higher to 70. Or wait. Watch price at 62.55. If it's lingering down there, it doesn't seem to want to leave that area immediately. If it doesn't immediately reject, we could be coming a bit lower down to this price level here. So we'll just mark that on the chart here. We'll call it this 62 even. Somewhere in and around there. Okay, and then watch price here. If price rejects lower and keeps coming down, your next level that you want to look at is, let me just get rid of these day dividers here for 1 second. Or I guess those would be month dividers. The next level I think you'd be looking at, excuse me, is 60.75. Potentially you could pick up a long there. That's another area of interest for me. The next area is 60 even. And pick up some longs there, and then the next area would be 59 even. That would be a fairly significant price decline to come all the way back down, $4.50 to get these areas in here, but it's doable. I mean, it did it over here, obviously, on this when it started trending up from its low in June of 2017. Price traded up, $7, and then it declined $4.50 before it resumed higher, and then up to the next area where we saw another decline of $3, and then an increase of $8, and then a nice decline, right, and so on and so forth. So we have made a nice bull run here. Up once, slight retracement, up twice, slight retracement, up a third time. Now I don't know if anybody is familiar with Elliott wave patterns or anything. I don't typically trade with them myself. I think there may be some truth to them, obviously with Fibonacci and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely truth to those. Sometimes you can definitely find confluences in the market for it, for sure. I don't necessarily trade with it myself, but every now and then you got to think about it. So you've got a motive wave up. You've got basically 5 motive waves, 3 motive waves up, and 2 declining, and then an ABCD, retracement, or sorry, an ABC retracement. So anyway, long story short, if that's the case here, we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, completed the 5th motive wave. We could see an ABC, correction, which, something like this could happen. So time will tell on that. Just starting now, but 100% don't buy it up here. Wait on this. And if you miss the bus, you miss the bus. It's not the end of the world. Price is always going to keep moving, so it's not a big deal. But I would highly recommend you wait and watch price at 62.55, 62 even, 60.75, 60 even, and then $59. We could see a retracement down there. Let me just, for completeness sake, let me just drop a fib. I'm going to take the fib from here. Normally I'd take the fib from here, but I like the bodies down here better. Just a little more symmetry with the bodies. I'm just going to drop a fib right here real quick to this high here. Now you look here at $59, $60 in that area. That's right at the 50% to 61% retracement levels. This is usually, if price is going to rebound, this is where it starts right in these areas here. So that starts to line up with those areas in there. Not perfectly, of course, but again, I'm just sort of not taking exact numbers here, of course, but I'm just trying to kind of get it to line up and get a few confluences going here. But again, price could be dropping down to the 50%, 61, 62% retracement levels, where you could be looking at getting longs from there. So those are the levels I've got marked out. And again, I'm calling it right now, $70 on crude oil. I'm bullish on this. I think it's going much higher, so watch for that moving forward. I'm not going to talk about gold or silver. However, gold has just seen a nice bull run. Be careful here. Don't buy it in this area here. If we see strength in the US dollar, just as an FYI, you're going to see gold decline, which we could be seeing here as I discussed with the US dollar index, so just watch out there. And again, if. So the other one I wanted to discuss quick, because I look at this pair all the time, is copper. I made a call on copper months ago, back in actually up here. And I discussed this on Tuesday. I'm not going to go into this too much. You can always watch Tuesday's video. But back in October, when price hit a high here, I called this level. See the shaded area down here? I called price returning down to this area. Now, whether it was going to bounce at $3, for instance, or this blue area I have in here at $2.96. I didn't know. I'm sorry, not $2.96. It is, but it's $296.89. I didn't know if price was going to bounce in there or go a little bit deeper. Price ended up going down to $291.90 there, and look at this incredible bull move up here. So what these levels here are what I'm calling price to come down to. I want to get long on copper. I'm fairly bullish on copper as of right now. Now again, this could change. U.S. dollar index up, is typically spells downward pressure on commodities, especially U.S. based major commodities. So things of that nature. So there's a lot of factors obviously involved in that. But I mean, this has been on a nice bull run. So my next target is obviously going to be up here at this old high here at $3.29.94. But I want to see price decline, and I want to see it decline more than this as well too. I think one of these four levels, I think in here would be a good start to see a retracement, and then pick up some longs after that. So no trade on that one right now. U.S. yen, UJ, we put a signal out on this. We were actually looking at going. Sorry, it was actually up here. We were talking about this as a study and wanting to see price increase from here. Dropped right out of bed. So price is going to keep moving higher to a couple of different levels, either to the old consolidation in here or this consolidation up in here, and then continue its downward descent, or we're going to see a rejection at these levels here, which is probably more likely. Just put this on the lows here. Probably more likely that we're going to see higher price levels on here, but there's a lot of areas down here too, so be careful on this pair when you're trading it. Wednesday's trading had a massive day. It was 150 pips, I think, is what it was, the total range on the day. Let me just go to yeah, 150 pips. Huge day on the U.S. yen, and price consolidated in here, rejected, and now we're heading higher. So again, this would be, if it's going to continue lower, this would be the first level that I would look at price wanting to move lower at 112, 11200 actually, even I'd say would be a good level. Might want to push up a little bit higher than that, and if price goes higher than this guy in here at if price goes higher than this old high over here, then chances are we're going to see prices hits 112.65, and maybe even this high might get taken out next. So watch this level in here. I'm not trading this. I've got, again, this is another pair of currency that gets analyzed by another analyst in my in our group here. So I'm not going to discuss this one in any detail in this session. Just want to run over a couple of other commodities. Sugar's interesting. Made equal highs up here. It has since rejected. This is Thursday. It's trading. Yeah, nice rejection on this level here. I think price is going to come back down into this level here. Either take these lows out here, or trade somewhere down into probably this level here. We'll see what happens there. Could be a nice short trade though. Price rejected this old high here, came up, tagged the bottom of that candle right there, and has since rejected. So we could see lower prices on sugar. I'm not currently trading this pair right now, just because I don't necessarily love trading in consolidating areas like this. If you can get into a trend like this is nice. However, you're never guaranteed to see that this is going to happen again. Now, what does interest me, though, is, pardon me, is if price does come back down to these levels here, if the lows are swept, taken, and it rejects, I'm going to get long and I'm going to get in on these highs up here. I don't necessarily think I'd like to short it in here, only because price has again it's returned back down to the small consolidation area here. It does look like it's pressing down. It could continue lower for sure, but I think the sure trade is going to be getting long at this area here, so I think it's going to do this. Just to paint the picture, and then I think these highs are going to get taken out here. So if price does that, comes down, then we'll see what happens there on sugar. Cotton, nice bull market on cotton here, nice bull trend on this. As of late, market's too high, don't want to do anything there. It's kind of chopping sideways as well too for the past couple of weeks, so nothing there to discuss in my mind right now. And then there was cocoa. Now, cocoa has my interest only because it had a nice trending market straight up, and again I discussed this on Tuesday's live trading session, and again last week. But it had a nice bull run up here. Seasonally, typically cocoa is actually bullish between January and February seasonally in months of the year, and so if we're going to see some bullish activity, we're going to see it over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And you can see here price had come up and had a real nice run. Nice bull market up to November. Since declined, came down and just took out the old low. I'll just get rid of that here. So the old low here comes in at 1801.2. So I'm just going to mark that out on here so you can see 1801.2. So that's where the low, the old low was. Price came down and violated that low, and a massive rejection ensued from there. Now, I was actually talking about price. This was last Thursday. Price was right here. It was this candle, one of these two candles here. What was last Thursday? That was the second, so it was this candle right here. Wednesday's candle, and this was the Thursday candle. So the candle hadn't opened up. I was doing a live session last Thursday, a week ago. Pardon me. Price hadn't quite got down here yet, and I said if price drops down and rejects this and doesn't continue lower, it's going to start going higher, and look exactly what it did there. Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're waiting for Thursday's candle to open. So what I'm suggesting with this is, if any of you out there trade the currency markets, or sorry, the commodity markets, which I do, I would suggest waiting for a moderate pullback and then buying and going long, and this would probably be your first area of interest, getting some levels at probably 2025, and then ultimate high up here. What's the high on this candle here? 2216. So this being 2216, we'll just call it that for argument's sake for now. That would be my ultimate target right there, and that would be a target that would probably be achieved by, I don't know, middle of February, end of January, middle of February, somewhere in there. That would be my suggestion. Just 1 second, guys. Just had to get a drink of water there. So that's my stance on cocoa. So I'm looking at a few commodities, obviously. If I'm going to take a buy anywhere, it would be, like I say, sugar down in here. Cotton, I'm not going to touch. Crude oil, not waiting. I'm not going to go long until we get the retracement. And cocoa, I think we're there right now. So just for argument's sake, I want to drive down here and just look at this a little bit. You can see price gets scattered a little bit, and I just actually want to, I can't do that. I've got an indicator, not an indicator, these boxes here give me times of day. And these are the daily dividers here that I just pulled up, so it just kind of helps me to figure out what day is what day and going forward. But I'm looking here, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just drilling down just to try and see if I can see an area where it may trade down to get long on this. Now you got to be careful too, because price did just capture this high in here, so we may, and we even captured this high over here as well too. Just barely got it right there. You can see the price just kind of ticked up above it right there, rejected, and we're trading right here. So what I'm suggesting, there's an area consolidation in here, price exploded out of, traded back down to area consolidation, and then expanded again. I'm suggesting that price may want to trade somewhere down in this area here. Let me just change the color here so we can clearly identify that. Right here. Not to get too specific, but, and this is, I have a bit of a gap right here too. You had Tuesday's close, and then Wednesday opened straight above it. That's straight up, so you do have a bit of a gap right here. So one of two things, basically, what I'm trying to drive at here. Price could either come back down, drive down to this level here to close this gap in price, and then resume higher. And it may not do it tomorrow. It could do it Friday, could do it next week. I don't know. I don't want to technically buy it right here. You could buy it. I mean, price is definitely, you know, I'm looking at levels way out here. Sorry, those levels went away here. 1 second. 30, and then this one up here, right? Whatever I said it was up here, 2010, 2000, somewhere in there, called 2010, 2210. So I think what I would like to see price do, again, you could buy it from here. You'd have to put your stop way lower. Like you'd want to have your stop all the way down here, just in case price ran it. But you'd want to have your stop for sure about 10 pips lower, you know, 1880, somewhere in and around there. You know, I'm just, for argument's sake, I would suggest even maybe here at 1875, you'd want to have your stop, which is a big margin. I mean, that's a lot, right? I mean, we're trading at 1937, you know, so it's you know, it's 60 pips, right? I mean, 60 plus pips on there, so it's you know, the payout would definitely be worth it. I mean, let's say you did get in there now, you know, you're looking at an over 100 pip run on the first target, and then, you know, we're looking at a you know, a 200-300 pip run on the second target. So it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. If you trade it, I don't know if you do or not, but this is what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for price to come down to here, and then I'm going to want to see what price does at this level, and then I want to see what price does at this level here, 1925. So price comes in, trades down, wait to see some rejection here. Rejection hits, I'm going to get long. If it continues down, we're going to see here, and again, I want to see rejection at this level. I don't want to see it go any lower, and then my stop would be at 1875 no matter where I got in. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for cocoa. We've got about 10 minutes left in the session. I typically, you know, do an hour and a half session on average. So the last thing I'm going to just look at here before I close off is Bitcoin. I've said it before, and I said it at the start of the year. I think we're going to see much lower prices in Bitcoin. Again, I've got a gap in my feed here. This gap doesn't exist. This is fluid price action, but you can see this level of consolidation right in here. That's my first level of price. That's where I think we're going to go to. It's not actually that. It's more like this, but Whoops. Sorry, guys. So let's take the highest candle, 83.43, 82.56, 82.98. You know what? Let's do this. Right here. That's a fairly safe area. Big figures are kind of where I'm looking at doing it anyway. So 8,300 is the level I believe Bitcoin is going to come down to. We failed to make a higher high on this run. Sorry, price rejected 20,000. I said this in my last one, so here's 20,000. I'm going to put that in right now. Okay, there's 20,000. Let's shrink this up a little bit. See a little bit better. Price failed, right? Right here. Fell short. Whatever this high here is. What's this high? Comes in at 19,255. So let's mark that on here. 19,255. Okay? Close enough. Failed. Rejected. Huge rejection. This was on December 23rd. Price came right down, rejected, hit this old high over here at it's this high in here at 11,360. Just mark that out. 11,360. Just so we got highs and we know where everything's at. Price came down, stabbed into it, rejected, came up a bit, went lower, basically consolidated. It's just been in a big consolidating area right in here. And then drove back up again, failed to get back up to this high, and now it's slowly been going lower for the week. So my thoughts on this are we're going to continue lower. If the price comes down to $8,300, I'd consider taking some longs here. May not get down there. There's a lot of levels in here. For instance, this low right in here would be my first level that I'd look at, price rejecting and continuing higher. But I think they really want to clean out a lot of the longs on this. And I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to come down to this level here. So I'm definitely not buying Bitcoin at this level. Everyone wants to be a buyer of this. I think it's going to go up higher. I'm on record saying that it'll probably hit 30,000. It'll definitely hit 20,000 this year. It'll hit, probably 30,000, maybe 50,000. Hell, there's some guys out there saying that this thing's going to hit over 100,000. That could be 10 years down the road. It'll probably get there. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but it's just we've seen a meteoric rise on this all last year. I mean, if you don't know anything about Bitcoin, I'm sure everyone's following along very closely. But I'm calling lower prices on Bitcoin. I'm calling right around this level here. This is the area that I like. But basically anything under this low, in my opinion, is suspect, and I think we could see a bounce somewhere in this area. So it's a big area, obviously. From this low to down to here, that's a big area. So, anywhere from the 11,000 mark to the 8,300 mark would be something. Whoops. No, I can't grab it. There we go. Anything from the 11,000 mark down to 8,300, in my opinion, I think would be a good area to buy in. And that's a $3,000 range. So you definitely don't want to be buying it the second it hits 11,000. You want to watch what price does. It's not going to shoot up $5,000 in a day. Although this day here, technically, I say that, this day here actually did drop almost $5,000 in a day, which is insane. To me, I didn't have any Bitcoins at that price. I didn't get in that high, so I did not lose any money on that drop. But man, if I'm looking at that and I got positions sitting, if I got in somewhere around here at 15, 16, 17,000, man, I would be sweating it if my value equity dropped like that in like a flash crash almost in a single day. I'd be going crazy. But again, I think price is going to come down, and this is the first area I'm going to look at. This 11,000 price may touch off this area, keep climbing higher. great. If it does, I'm not going to get in right at 11,000. I'll wait till price climbs up a bit higher. Maybe do a retest, and then I'll get in higher. Get in long at those prices. But I'm going to wait and watch to see what happens at this level here, because I do think price really wants to clean some of these out and get down to this 8,300. So we'll see what happens there. But that's kind of the levels that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. So I know there's a lot of cryptocurrency traders out there, and I know a lot of cryptocurrency traders don't know what the hell they're doing on this market. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to go to 20,000 before it hits 11,000 or 8,300. It's coming down, and I think it's going to come down here probably this month. For sure, I think it's going to come down this month to those levels. So you could look at getting some longs, but definitely don't do it right here. I would definitely highly recommend waiting on it. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. No trades. Again, you want to. The trend is, it's a cliche term. The trend is your friend. I believe it wholeheartedly, 100%. The trend is your friend. This is an uptrending market. We're in a short-term decline right now, but long-term, very, very bullish market. Right? So it's broken it here now. You could even say there. It's technically broke this level here. If this is the way you trade, I typically don't do a lot of analysis with these types of trend lines, but you can see it's broken that trend. So short term, you could look at taking some shorts, I guess, if you want to day trade this. That'd be a nice short right there, and just look for 11,000. I could hit that by the end of the week easily. I would not go long, to be honest with you. Price may want to come back long, short term. Wait. If price comes up and clears out these two equal highs in here, and wants to keep going, again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we saw our high back here, and I think price is going to steadily decline from here. But it might be a nice trade for a nice little rejection up here, and then the market drops lower. You could take a short doing that. I don't believe price would climb up that high, but that is definitely an option there. In reality, let me just look at this for a second. Price came down, pushed up, traded lower, took out the lows, took out these lows, since rejected. I think price is going to come a little bit higher, but I think it's going to come to this consolidation area right here. So let me just look at that here. Let me change this color. I would suggest, and this is, again, I'm not suggesting taking a trade, but if you did want to go and take a short position, I'd probably be looking for shorts in this area here, right here, if you want to day trade it, if you want to day trade Bitcoin, which certain brokers will allow you to do that. That's a big stop, though. You'd have to trade it with your stop above, higher than these two highs here, for sure. And I would suggest even right up here. We're pretty fluid price action coming down in these areas here. There's a little bit of an area. Let me just see here. No, I think we're good in this area here. Price has really been trading this. So this whole area right in here, just in case you haven't seen it, I like to trade in consolidation ranges. This area right there, that is a nice consolidation range right in there. Price came up, banged off of it, lower, took the lows out, rammed up, took the highs, came back down to the consolidation area, took the lows, came back up, and continued lower and softer and weaker since then. It's interesting. I kind of like this, actually. Sometimes I kind of think out loud on a couple of things here. That came right up to 70%. Interesting. Anyway, just started thinking out loud. But yeah, I would, if you're gonna look at going short on this, which I would, you could do something like this, and then just watch price at this level here, though. It could just stab up here, reject, and then you could sell it on the way down, no problem whatsoever. You definitely want to be careful, though, because there are equal highs up here, and price does love equal highs, because there's a lot of stops residing above here. A lot of buy stops up in this area here. So I would suggest price probably... Yeah, I mean, somewhere up in here would have to be your stop for sure. You know, again, just watch price. Gets to this level. If it starts to want to reject, sell it. Sell into that, because we're going down into this area I've highlighted down here for sure. This is the next area, 100%. But like I say, it could want to come up and grab those. So once price gets here, just watch what it does. If it wants to continue, it's going to take these out. I'd sell the rejection on this level right here, personally. I kind of like that a little bit better. I'd have my stop up here, and then obviously my take profit's going to be down there at 11,360-ish. Might not get there on a day trade, but it'd be probably there by the end of the week. So anyway, that's just what I'm looking at. So just to wrap up, because we're hitting the hour and 30 mark here, and that's typically when I like to wrap up. I don't want to keep these sessions any longer than that. We ran through the US dollar index. I'll give my thoughts on that. I think we are going to be short-term bullish on this. I think we're going to run up, hit some levels in here. I've actually got it marked better on this chart here. I think we're going to hit some levels up in here before we start rolling over and going back down, if that's what it's going to do. I give you my thoughts on that. The Euro USD, there wasn't a trade there that I was looking at necessarily. Whoops. It's kind of an interesting little trend line right there that's sort of developed. Don't know how accurate that's going to be. Could get violated. I personally think this is going to come lower because the US daily is going to go higher. So I think we are going to go lower there, but I don't really like this price action here this week. I mean, this is the week. I mean, you can look at this here. This is the week trading so far. Okay, this is Sunday. This is Monday's opening candle right here, and then prices declined off of that. We've since had a nice rally right back up, almost to the open of this candle here. Almost. I'm just going to take these data dividers off real quick. Price didn't quite get up to it there. So it's almost hit the opening candle of the week, and since has traded softer. I think we're going to see lower prices on this. I think it's going to come down. Any trend line traders like this, they're thinking, oh, trend line came down, bounced, respected it, big bounce, came back down, respected. I think it's going to come down here anyway. 1880 for sure is going to be the first level. So 20, 40, 65 pips lower than what is currently at right now. I think that is going to be suspect, and I think that's going to be hit. But I think the trade that I'm going to take here is the pound dollar. And you can see prices already. Look at that. What did I call that or what? I got my level in here only because I couldn't trade that close to the market. Didn't quite get up to it. I told you to come back down to this trading, this area consolidation here, trade off of it and drop lower, and that's exactly what it's done here. So kind of interesting. So we'll see what wants to happen off of here. I believe this is going to be the high of the day here. And I think it just retested in here, and I think we're going to trade lower. So I might actually get in on this market sell on this on the demo trade on the pound dollar here, just because I don't think price is going to come back up to my level up here. So I might even just do that right now, just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Instant execution, you know, half a lot. I don't even think I want to go that much. Maybe we'll do this many, and put my stop in here, 135. Oops, 5.5. My take profit, I said, was 134.30. Actually, that's not right. My take profit technically is 134.65. My first level. My second level is 134.30. So we'll put that in 134.30, and then I'll do a partial take profit at 134.65 or 134.70, depending on what we're at here. Instant execution done. Okay, let's see what this does. Kind of curious on this one here. So that's where I believe price is going to go into. Price comes up here, trades in, and it'll tag this. I'm going to leave this market order on here. You never know what might happen, but I'm expecting price to run in lower here to 134.30 level here. So wait and see how that pans out. I can update you tomorrow via Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Let you know how that trade panned out. And hopefully you all have a great day of trading tomorrow. And again, we will be doing another live session starting next Tuesday morning at 12 a.m. New York time. So you can expect that again. Love to have you jump on in and check it out. And also for all the members that are on this as well too, I'm going to put this signal out as well too on the website, so you can access this. I'm going to upload some charts, put my comments in there, and so you can get some more details on this as well too for this trade. So thanks guys, appreciate your time, and we'll catch up to you on the next one.